I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this afternoon's agenda meeting where we will review the action items that will be formally addressed next Tuesday evening, June 4th at 6 p.m. And I'll call upon Mr. Bill Burrow for those review of those action items. Just a reminder, immediately after the agenda meeting, we'll have a work session. Bill?
Thank you, Mayor. You will have a proclamation that evening for the National League of Cities Centennial Roadshow Day in Hot Springs. As you are all aware, it's the 100th anniversary of National League of Cities, and we were one of the 100 cities they chose to visit. There's 3 in Little Rock. They'll be here on the 10th, Little Rock on the 17th as part of the Municipal League Conference, and then West Memphis on the 17th as well. Gary Trapman will be here that evening to present the Chamber of Commerce and Metro Partnership Economic Development Report. And then moving into your consent agenda section, consider Resolution R-24109, a resolution approving a work order to the master agreement for professional services between the City of Hot Springs and Garver LLC for professional services related to the hangar construction project at the Hot Springs Memorial Field Airport and amending the 2024 City of Hot Springs budget. And our Airport Director, Don Rollett, will present the item. Don.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In March, the board approved a couple of requests for grants from the state to build a hangar on the south ramp. And in April, those were approved by the State Commission. So we got both those grants approved. This is the first of the 2. This is the 80-20 for the engineering services and preparation work for building that hangar. So on the 80-20, it's going to be doing the groundwork and engineering. The amount is $104,100 that we would be putting forward toward this, and we would be requesting a fund balance or a budget amendment for the fund balance from the airport to cover that cost.
Any questions, Ron? Thank you.
Okay. Your next item is consider Resolution R-24110, a resolution approving the purchase of prefabricated bus shelters from Brasco International, Inc., using certain Federal Transit Administration 49 USC 5339 bus and bus facility grant program funds in the amount of $91,200. And Deputy City Manager Lance Spicer will discuss the item. Lance.
Yes, thank you. As stated, this item is to purchase 12 prefabricated bus shelters. We will be purchasing them from the lowest responsible bidder, Brasco International. They are a Michigan-based company. Currently, they actually won the bid in 2021. They are the blue aluminum shelters with the green roof. They have they're all aluminum, tempered safety glass. We've purchased 15 back in 2021. This will purchase 12. Total all-in price is $91,200. That comes to about $7,600 per shelter. That does also include the freight. The funding for this will be utilizing federal transit assistance. This will be coming from the 5339 bus and bus facilities grants. That is at an 80% federal and a 20% local. So the funding breakdown on that is $72,960 on the federal side and $18,240 on the local share. And we'll disperse these 12 shelters throughout our 3 fixed route transit systems. We've got a couple sites, locations identified, but we'll certainly fine tune that. Delivery date is about 6 months from the issuance of the PO. So be a little bit of time, but it will certainly be soliciting input on exactly where we want to locate these shelters.
Lance, does this price include them installing the shelters or for us to install them?
We will procure the installment as well. We've utilized our basically some of our sidewalk and concrete contractors to do that. So as part of the funding allocation from Federal Transit, we'll utilize that for the installation as well.
Okay.
Good point.
Any additional questions? Director Beard?
Thank you, Mayor. With The bus facilities grant program, will this eliminate the need for the CDBG funds to put up bus shelters?
It actually provides a little bit of a stopgap. We utilize some CDBG funding, like on the Malvern Avenue section, and we've utilized it where those CDBG funds are appropriate to use. But we're going to use these federal transit funds in areas outside of those CDBG target areas.
Okay, and will this money be available next year as well?
Yes, we do receive an annual allocation from the federal transit in this 5339 grant program.
Okay, are there matching funds on it?
Yes, 80% is the federal side, and then 20% is the local share, which we generally budget for those each year and as part of the annual budget.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. Lance, you had mentioned there were about 3 or 4 potential locations. Can you share with the board where those are and how many different shelters will go at each of those sites?
Yeah, we have 3 throughout the city. We have 3 fixed route transit routes that kind of go throughout the city. Like one in particular that I'm thinking of is off of Malvern Avenue. Sawtooth is one, and additionally, I think we're looking at placing one on the inbound side of Whittington and Walnut. But we're also kind of looking at kind of dispersing probably 4 shelters per 3 routes. So we're kind of evenly trying to disperse those out. But as far as the locations, we've got a couple identified, but we really wanted to hear from. We do have a listing of the riders and from the drivers, but also some of the facilities where the bus stops are located. Sometimes they send in requests for shelters.
So would that be where the bus would park overnight?
No, these are actually passenger shelters.
I got you. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions? Thank you.
Next, we have consider resolution R24-111, a resolution authorizing the filing and acceptance of a 2024 Active Transportation Infrastructure Investment Program grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation to support a multimodal trail network in the city of Hot Springs, and our Parks and Trails Director, Anthony Whittington, will present the item. Anthony.
Thank you, Mr. Burrow. The City of Hot Springs is requesting $586,480 in Active Transportation Infrastructure Investment Program grant funding to include surveying, cost estimates, environmental work, and various portions of the design process of trails. And this is based depending on the trail. Identified trails include Gulf of Trails North, Gulf of Trails South. These are both greenways, future greenway trails. Future phases of the Stokes Creek Greenway, phases 4 and 5. Stokes Creek to the high school, Hot Springs High School connectors, which are various spurs off of the Stokes Creek Greenway Trail, and also a spur to the Oaklawn Elementary connectors as well. The ATIP grant support projects that will help improve the safety, efficiency, and reliability of active transportation networks and communities, improving connectivity between active transportation nodes and public transportation, enhance the resiliency on and off-road active transportation infrastructure, and help protect the environment and improve the quality of life. With our 20% match, this is an 80-20, similar to our transportation alternative grant. Our 20% match is $117,296 for a total cost of $703,776. So these are strictly grant funds for planning of future trails, to include surveys, cost estimates, environmental work, and different areas of design. So,
Any questions of Anthony? So how extensive is this plan? I mean, that's a whole lot of money there.
a whole lot of money. Typically to plan a phase like at the Hot Springs Creek Greenway, for example, it costs between $50,000 and $60,000 to plan a half-mile to a mile section. So this is a lot. This will complete a lot of design for our bicycle master pedestrian plan, for future greenway trails. And so this will definitely help us and get us ready for the construction phase. So if we get the RAISE grant that we applied for this year, that'll definitely help us in the construction phase. So this aids in that as well. So both grants together, if we get them, will be a tremendous leap forward in our grants in our trail system throughout the city. So this definitely help for the planning part of our trails. So
Is there any of this plan, including a little section of the Southwest Trail that goes from basically Transportation Depot or whatever, or I guess right over here at the National Park to our county line or anything?
This one doesn't, the RAISE grant does, the $2 million for planning does cover that. This grant does not, no. Yes, sir.
Any additional questions of board members? Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So the local, or 20% to match that 80, you were saying was just a little over 117,000. Was that coming out of the 23 budget too?
Complete Streets Fund.
It
yes,
is?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I thought it was.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anthony, were the federal dollars 585,000, 586,000, somewhere there? What was that federal dollar amount?
It's 586,480 is what we came out with. And that's based on, the trail design is rated on, a green level trail is a much lower cost of design. The more technical you get with the blue and the black leveled trails like you would at Northwoods, of course the cost will go up because there's more technical design involved. So thankfully greenways are a little less, involved, because we have to keep the 5% ADA compliance, with our paved areas. So.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, your next three items are resolutions. However, they will be under your new business. They all have to do with condemnations. The first is consider resolution R-24-112, a resolution declaring a certain structure located at 106 Barrett Street a nuisance and condemning same pursuant to Title 17 of the Hot Springs Code. And our Chief Building Official, Mike Scott, will discuss these items.
Thank you. The City of Hot Springs proposes condemnation for the purpose of demolishing and clearing a vacant single-family structure at 106 Barrett. A gentleman from Michigan is the owner of the property, and he obtained it in November of 2021. While there are two addresses located on this property, only the structure addressed as 106 Barrett is being recommended for condemnation at this time. A housing and vacant structure notice to comply was issued to the owner of the property on May 23rd, 2023. Violations included missing and damaged roof, soffit and fascia missing or open windows and doors, and piles of trash and debris. A property maintenance notice to comply was issued again on August 15th, 2023. Same violations. A property maintenance notice to comply was issued again on September 20th of 2023. Same violations. In October of 2023, the City of Hot Springs boarded and secured all of the structures located on the property. This included the buildings at 106 Barrett and the building at 108 Barrett. In addition, all of the trash and debris was removed from the property and the overgrown grass was cut. This action by the city resulted in a lien of $1,958.37 being levied against the property. On March 12th of this year, a vacant structure notice to comply was issued to the owner. Violations again included open and missing windows and doors, missing damaged roofing, soffit, fascia, and piles of trash and debris on the property again. A limited tile search was done on March 13th of 2024. A notice of the proceedings was issued to the owner, and the proof of service was signed by the owner on March 29th. Copies of the notice and proof of service are included in the packet. Due to the extent of the deterioration, the inability or unwillingness of the property owner to make the repairs to stabilize, and having no reasonable alternative, the structure should be raised and removed. The current lien on the property is $1,958.37. The taxes are $321, and this is in District 2.
Any questions of Mike? Thank you.
Next item is consider resolution R-24-113, a resolution declaring a certain structure located at 242 Wahoo Street a nuisance and condemning same pursuant to Title 17 of the Hot Springs Code. Mike?
Thank you. City of Hot Springs proposes condemnation for the purpose of demolishing and clearing a vacant single-family structure at 242 Wahoo Street. The property is owned by a lady in St. Louis, Missouri. A vacant structure notice was issued to the owner January 8th of 2024. Violations at the time included unsecured openings, unpainted wood, damaged or missing siding, And then again on February 2nd, not again, on February 2nd, the structure was damaged by a major fire. The damage is extensive enough to pose a health risk and safety risk. A vacant structure notice was issued again to the owner February 13th, 2024, requesting the owner to remove the remaining portions of the structure. A limited title search was requested April 16th and confirmed the owner of the property was the lady that lives in St. Louis, Missouri. Notice of the proceedings issued to the owner was May 3rd of this year. We have not received confirmation back from her yet. Due to the extensive damage, the inability or the unwillingness of the property owner to have the structure removed and have no reasonable alternative to the structure should be raised and removed. Had this house been anywhere except for where it is, I would have already tore it down. It's in that bad a shape. But there are no other houses or structures close by, so there wasn't any imminent danger of it falling on somebody or somewhere. It's on a street that only has like 2 other houses on it, and they're over a football field away. So, but the structural damage is massive.
Any questions of Mike on 242 Wahoo Street? Thank you.
Your last item is consider resolution R24-114, a resolution declaring a structure located at 119 Cash Street a nuisance and approving emergency condemnation actions pursuant to Title 17 of the Hot Springs Code. Mike.
Thank you. The City of Hot Springs proposes after the fact condemnation of a vacant single-family structure at 119 Cash Street. The record of owner is a gentleman who lists a mailing address here in Hot Springs. April 24th of 2024, the property maintenance notice was issued to the owner for overgrown property. Shortly after that, the structure was damaged by fire. I inspected the property along with the fire department and determined that the remaining structure posed a significant risk to the health and safety of the neighboring houses and anyone who may attempt to return to the structure. May 1st, 2024, bids were requested for immediate removal of the structure. After receiving the bids and further inspection of the property, it was found there was a large amount of unknown debris in the backyard, scattered throughout the backyard. The low bidder was Melton Excavating. May 2nd, 2024, a demolition permit was issued to Melton Excavation, and demolition work was completed May 8th, 2024. May 3rd, 2024, notice of the proceedings was issued to the owner at his current mailing address. Notice was posted on the property. Current taxes on this property is $104. There are no current liens on it other than the damage from the house, and it's in District 3.
Any questions of Mike on this resolution? Director Beard?
Thank you, Mayor. My question is general for the 3 houses. What is our budget for tearing down houses? City manager, you.
I don't
know
recall what it was.
is. I think it's.
Might have to go back and look. I mean, I can get you that information.
I recall it being
wondering.
close to 100,000.
Yeah, I think it's.
I think we added 50,000 maybe
Yeah,
a couple of
sometimes
years
we
ago.
get some in budget, and sometimes there's some in CDBG, and then sometimes the board allocates.
Do
us
you use
extra.
CDBG money to tear down houses?
We have in the past, yes, ma'am.
That's horrible. My next question is, you said something about overgrown property. Is that ever a reason for you to tear down a house, or are you tearing it down because of the fire?
It's tearing
Or-
it down because of the fire. We never tear something down just because it's overgrown. We have a separate budget for that.
Well,
Weed lot
I
removal is a separate budget item.
I understand that the overgrown property, if you, does that put a lien on the property if you have to cut it down? Do you ever do that?
If we go cut a property?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We post a lien for
So
whatever
then,
expense we incurred.
Right.
Yes.
so then the lien would cause it to be toward, I never got this question answered for a separate property, but if there is a lien on a property, does that, is that a reason for it to be torn down?
No, never.
Okay. Well, while you get that information about the budget for tearing down the properties, I'd like to know if there's a budget for building. That's all, thank you.
All right, any additional questions?
Mayor, I do have a follow-up on this one. During our pre-agenda meeting this morning, Mike was telling me he was having a difficult time getting service on the owner of this property. And so it sounded kind of familiar to me, so I dug through my files. We actually have a court order from last year that in circuit court that declared this property to be a nuisance and authorized the raising of the structure and the placement of the lien. Well, I guess what I'm telling you is this item is not necessary for your agenda and ask that it be removed. It's not necessary.
Okay.
Because it's already been torn down.
Well, it has been,
Yes.
it has been torn down, but there was an order in place authorizing that.
And that was prior to the fire.
You don't have to condemn it. The court already did.
Okay. So that sounds like just a regular procedural matter, so we'll have that item
Remove that
removed.
item.
I do want to say something, though. I want to thank you for taking care of it because the neighbors have reported that it's a nuisance. There've been vagrants, there's been drug activity, there's been vermin. I've seen pictures of giant rats coming out of there that hang out with whatever trash is there.
Yeah.
So it's not that, this was not destroying a home that someone could live in. This is protecting homes that people do live in. The
This
people
house
who are.
was, this house was actually so close to the house on the right, had the wall fallen over, it would have hit the house.
And the people that live near these properties that are in such a bad state of repair are appreciative to have their properties protected so that they can live a good quality of life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, this, unless I'm missing something, this completes the action items that will be formally addressed next Tuesday, with the exception that we took item 6 off. So if there's no further business for the agenda meeting, we are adjourned. But remember, we do have a work session immediately starting shortly.